Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to regular meeting of council for the Township of Malahide on October 2nd, 2025. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 7 o'clock. We'll begin the proceeding with O Canada. Please rise.
O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command.
Car ton bras s'est porté l'épée, il s'est porté la croix. Ton histoire est une épopée des plus brillants exploits.
God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Thank you. Next is the approval of the agenda. Any changes or additions? Deputy Mayor?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just have an announcement about one of our roads and the improvements we've had done to it. So, thank you.
Any other additions, Mr. Gubby?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just an announcement about the washrooms in Port Bruce.
Director Spoor?
Just an announcement for the mental health grant for mental health for public safety workers that the townships has received. So,
Okay, so we'll add that under announcements. We also have an additional item under closed session. Clerk Adams, do you want to specify? Just specifying what the item is that we're adding, just the topic.
A position plan procedure criteria or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality or local board, Elmer Settlement Area Boundary Adjustment, Section 239-2K.
Okay, thank you. So that will be added to the closed session. Any other additions or changes? Resolution, please.
That the October 2nd, 2025 regular council meeting agenda be approved as presented with the following amendments: road updates, Port Bruce washroom update, grant notifications, and an addendum to the closed session item.
Thank you. Mover and seconder, please. Councilor Lewis moves, Councilor Cerna seconds. All in favor? Motion is carried. Disclosure of pecuniary interest. Deputy Mayor Widner.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I have 4 of them. G is a meeting to consider Brooks for drainage, and K, petition for Hutke, and petition for K2 Custom Homes, and L, the Brooks Drain reading.
Thank you for those. Noted. Okay, so we will proceed with announcements, and I do want to acknowledge that our CAO Diaz is online with us. So thank you for being with us remotely. Happy to have you part of the meeting. So announcements, who wants to go first? Director Gobby.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you to council, just wanted to get the message out to everyone. We'll post something on the website as well. just our intentions to close the washroom facilities at Wanacott Park in and around October 15th, just with the weather change and the cold weather coming, getting cooler at night. So we want to make sure that we get everything closed up before plumbing starts to cause us concerns with issues. This is about the time of year every year where we do that. When the building is locked up, we will be, as per usual, bringing another porta potty in to sit down at that site for the remainder of the season.
Perfect. Thank you for that update. Director Spoor?
Thank you, Your Worship. Just an announcement to council tonight that the fire department, in behalf of the other county departments, some of the other county departments in the county as well, put in application for a grant which provides mental health supports for firefighters and emergency personnel. So it includes training for groups to be able to take peer support, cover some counseling and stuff like that as well. So I'm proud to announce that we've got a grant for $100,000 for us to use for the county here. And I'll provide a council report later on once we find all the details of where we're going to spend the money and allocate it. So.
Wonderful. Thank you for pursuing that grant. It's nice that that issue is being acknowledged and supported financially. So that's great. Wonderful news. We'll look forward to the report. Deputy Mayor?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to say, in conjunction with the county and Malahide Road staff, 3-foot tall do not pass lettering was put on Imperial Road. And I was told by one of the major landowners down there, they notice a difference. If you don't get it now, you never will. I mean, you're riding right over it. So that's good. And I know Malahide gets sometimes blamed for a lot of speeding, but we had a county council meeting and Bayham was talking about it, and Bayham's got a huge problem. They want to put cameras in, but so it's just not us. And I think we're in pretty good shape, and hopefully the do not pass signs are going to fix that problem. We're all done with that stuff. Thank you.
Thank you for that update. And I think that was it for announcements. So we'll proceed with the adoption of minutes. We have the minutes from our last meeting, September 18th. Any errors or omissions? Seeing none, we have the resolution.
That the minutes of the regular council meeting held on September 18th, 2025 be adopted.
Mover and seconder. Counselor Surna moves, Counselor Leach seconds. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Next section is public meetings. The first one is a meeting to consider the Brooks drain. And welcome, Mr. Spreet. I'll turn it over to you.
Your Worship. So tonight's meeting is the consideration of the Brooks drain. It's an existing drain that was constructed sometime in the 1960s, and the landowner J. Grant Firks Farms Limited have requested an improvement to the drain south of County Road 48, Lions Line. So what we're proposing to do tonight is to replace the existing drain, which is a 6-inch, 8-inch tile in places, and install a new drain starting at the open ditch, which is the Brooks drain extension open ditch, and run through those lands to just to the south side of the county road, install a new catch basin. The total length of the works is about 208 meters, and it's all 350 millimeter diameter closed drain. Happy to answer any questions, Your Worship.
Thank you for that. Any comments or questions? Doesn't look like there are any, so may I have the resolutions?
That the engineer's report for the Brooks Drain Branch A be accepted, and that bylaw number 25-52 being a bylaw to provide for the Brooks Drain Branch A drainage works be read a first and second time and provisionally adopted.
Mover and seconder. Counselor Wilson moves. Counselor Glinsky seconds. All in favor? Motion is carried. And the follow-up resolution?
The tenders for the construction of the Brooks Drain Branch A be requested for October 27th, 2025.
Mover and seconder. Counselor Lewis moves. Counselor Glinski seconds. All in favor? Motion is carried. And finally,
That the Court of Revision for the Brooks Drain Branch A be scheduled to be held on November 6th at 7 p.m.
thank you. Mover and seconder. Counselor Leach moves, Counselor Cerna seconds. All in favor? Motion is carried. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
the Deputy Mayor can come back for the next item. So the next item is a public hearing, and so we'll need a resolution. And is that all for Mr. Spreet? Yes.
That the Committee of the Adjustment for the Township of Malahide be called to order at 7:11 p.m. and that Mayor Dominic Giguere be appointed chairperson for the Committee of Adjustment.
Mover and seconder, please. Counselor Lewis moves, Counselor Cerna seconds. All those in favor? Motion is carried. So the purpose of this hearing is to consider an application for a minor variance as submitted by the owner, Beth Foster, relating to the property known municipally as 48245 Rush Creek Line. And we have Mr. Steele to provide us with an overview. Welcome.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Chair. Before committee tonight is a minor variance application for the property at 48245 Rush Creek Line. Property currently contains an existing cottage and a septic holding tank, and the owner is proposing to build a new dwelling on the property as well that be serviced with a septic tile and weeping bed. The property is located within the floodplain associated with the Catfish Creek, and as a result, there are requirements for new development within the floodplain, some including minimum setbacks for both buildings and for septic systems. And so the applicant is seeking a reduced front yard setback in order to ensure that those setback requirements can be met for both the new building as well as the proposed septic system to Catfish Creek. And by moving the dwelling, this would also have the effect of sort of improving the current situation on the property in terms of having that dwelling located further outside of that or further away from Catfish Creek and its sort of associated natural hazards. The owners have consulted with Catfish Creek Conservation Authority, and the Conservation Authority has commented that the proposed building plans do take into consideration their required setback for new septic systems as well as minimum floodproofing elevations for the new building. No other comments have been received to date, and staff find that the application meets the 4 tests of minor variance, and I recommend the application be approved subject to standard conditions. And that concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to take questions from members of the committee.
Thank you. And before I open it up for question, I'll just, if the applicant has anything to add?
No.
Okay, nothing to add. And is there anyone else in attendance in person or online wishing to comment or ask questions? There's no one else. So members of the committee, any questions, comments? It was covered really well indeed. Okay, so I'll thank everyone for being here for the input, and I will now ask the committee to make the decision on the application with the resolution, please.
The report number DS 25-37 entitled Minor Variance Application of Beth Foster relating to the property located at Concession 1, part of Lot 4, Part 1, RP 11R 5592 48245 Rush Creek Line be received, and that the Township of Malahide Committee of Adjustment approve minor variance application number D13 MV07-25 to permit a reduced front yard depth of 3.5 meters, and that the approval shall be subject to the following conditions. 1, that the owner applicant obtain the necessary building permit within 2 years from the date of decision to the satisfaction of the chief building official, and that 2, the structure be constructed as per the details shown in the drawings as provided with the application to the satisfaction of the chief building official.
Thank you. Mover and seconder, please. Counselor Lewis moves, Counselor Cerna seconds. All in favor? The motion is carried. Thank you, and all the best with the next steps.
You're lucky, right?
So we'll now proceed to adjourn the committee meeting.
that the Committee of Adjustment for the Township of Malahide be adjourned and the council meeting reconvene at 7:15 PM.
Mover and seconder, please. Counselor Wilson moves, Deputy Mayor Widner seconds. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Okay, so next on the agenda, we have the items being recommended by the Committee of the Whole. So that was the council meeting schedule and the human revisions to the human resources policy. Was there anything that needed to be pulled out for further discussion? Not seeing any requests. We'll proceed with the recommendation.
Whereas at its September 18th, 2025 meeting, the Committee of the Whole recommended to Council recommended to Council A and B, and that the committee recommend these be it resolved. Sorry, let me start over. Yeah. Whereas at its September 18th, 2025 meeting, the Committee of the Whole recommended to Council A and B, be it resolved that Council adopts the above recommendations from the Committee of the Whole.
There we go. Got it. Mover and seconder, please. Counselor Lewis moves, Counselor Leach seconds. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Okay, this takes us to new business. So we have a severance application. So we'll bring back Mr. Steele.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Before council tonight is a consent application. The owners are proposing to sever a existing surplus farm from the agricultural parcel that they own. It's when surplus is a result of farm consolidation. Staff reviewed the application against the applicable planning policies and it finds that it meets all of the requirements. It is noted that a future zoning bylaw amendment application will be required to rezone the proposed severed and retained lands. There are no concerns from staff, and so staff recommend the application be supported and that the recommended conditions be forwarded to Land Division Committee for its consideration. And that concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to questions from members of council.
Thank you. Questions? Anything needs to be clarified? Not seeing anything. The resolution, please.
That report number DS 25-36 entitled Application for Consent to Sever number E 51-25 of Mark and Nicole McCollum be received, and that the application for consent to sever of Mark and Nicole McCollum, authorized agent David Rowe, relating to the property located at concession 8, part of lot 4, geographic concession north of Talbot Road, and known municipally as 51400 Wilson Line, be supported for the reasons set out in this report, and that this report be forwarded to the Land Division Committee for its review and consideration.
Thank you. Mover and seconder, please. Counselor Wilson moves, Counselor Leach seconds. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you, Mr. Steele. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
You as well.
Right. Okay, next under new business, and there is a report from Director Spohr, but he just had to step out. So if that's okay with everybody, we'll just move to the petition for drainage. Director Godby.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, through you to council. Report PW 2530 is a petition for drainage for Hotkey. Oh. And this is a result of a previously approved severance application. So one of the conditions was to provide new legal and adequate outlets for the 2 new residential building lots. If you look at page 34 of your agenda, you'll see a quick overview shot of what's going to be happening there. 2 new lots being created and need connections to the Candy Drain, which is just to the south of the property. As a result, we're proposing to assign a drainage engineer from Spreet Associates to complete the required work. If there's any questions, I'll happily answer.
Thank you. Any questions on this application? Pretty straightforward again, so we'll proceed with the resolution, please.
That report number PW 25-30 entitled Petition for Drainage Hotkey be received, and that John M. Spreet of Spreet and Associates be appointed to prepare an engineer's report for the Hotkey petition.
Mover and seconder, please. Counselor Glinski moves, Counselor Cerna seconds. All in favor? Motion is carried. And since the deputy mayor has already stepped aside, we'll just continue. The next item is another petition for drainage from K2 Custom Homes. Mr. Gobby.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Report PW 2531 is a petition for drainage submitted by K2 Custom Homes Incorporated. If you want to look at page 38 of your agenda, you can see that there's 3 properties essentially affected here that K2 Custom Homes is looking to do some redevelopment of. As a result, in order to get a legal and adequate drainage outlet, they have signed a petition along with the township as the road authority to look at improvement of an existing drain along Beach Street, the back alley and behind, which currently does not have any status. It's been installed at some time over the history of time in Springfield, and without knowing any of the finer details as to when and where all the connections are and the sizing. The plan is to have this drain assessed and incorporated as a municipal drain, giving it a new legal and adequate outlet, status as a municipal drain for all future maintenance, just as we do everywhere else across the township, and providing the drainage required for the work that K2 Custom Homes is currently planning along that stretch of Ron McNeil and Whitaker Road. If there are any questions, I will happily answer.
Thank you for that. Councillor Leach.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So there's none of those properties are being drained into that ditch now, or the history is so unclear that this is a priority to facilitate this?
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Leach. The existing properties that are there, there's drainage available out in the county road, which was originally a county drain. We looked at the possibility of draining out to the front, met with the county and the representatives from K2 Custom Homes to investigate that option. Ultimately, there is also some drainage, old existing drainage in the back alley. They have wanted to pursue the back alley route as opposed to the road frontage route. So in order to do either one of those, there needs to be a proper assessment done of those drains. They were never properly designed or engineered to incorporate the on-site drainage of these properties, or especially the change in use that's happening in those ones that burnt. And you can see the holes in the ground there. So in order for them to proceed with their building permits and get, one of the things you have to submit is a proper drainage plan with an outlet. This satisfies that. As well, will legitimize any other connections that are found in this drain in that area, so that in future maintenance is required, it will be a municipal drain, which will be assessed back to those benefiting parties, just like any of the other drains within the village of Springfield.
Follow up?
Yes, please. So if they have a connection that's existing into this Beach Street drain, will there be like a public meeting so that they can understand how their drainage on their property may be changing? Because it seems like this one property is now triggering a reassessment kind of all the way down the line that may be a surprise for others on the street.
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Leach, that's a very good point. In accordance with the Drainage Act, all the affected property owners will be notified. We will have the standard on-site public meetings with anybody who is within that defined drainage area once the engineer does some of their calculations and see who's all draining into this area. As point of reference, it includes this facility right here because it heads down the back alley here. So there will be a number of property owners along this area that will get notified, and they may or may not have future maintenance costs associated with the maintenance and repair of the drain. At this point, that would need to be flushed out through the Drainage Act processes.
Thank you.
Counselor Wilson.
Through you, Madam Mayor. I don't know if he has it, but Maxmore's basement is full of lots of drainage plans throughout Springfield that a lot of people have forgotten about. But Max might be able to put his finger on exactly when that was put in, and I don't know for sure. It's just a very distinct possibility.
Through you, your worship, Counselor Wilson, that'd be great if you could find something, because I looked high and low in the office and there was nothing. I couldn't find anything in the files. No design, no as-built. No, I didn't even know how big the drain was. We had to put in we dug down behind the K2 property. We dug down and installed a catch basin. There were no access points for this particular drain. So we put a catch basin in and we cleaned out the drain both directions, and it was probably half full of detritus and other materials. And then we cambered it as far as we could go to determine that it is in good shape. So yeah, if he could provide us with any information, that'd be fantastic.
I will make a visit to Max. It's amazing what he's got in his basement there in the plans.
The unofficial township archives. Wonderful. Further comments or questions? Seeing none, so we'll proceed with the resolution.
The report number PW 25-31 entitled Petition for Drainage K2 Custom Homes, Inc. be received, and that John M. Spreet of Spreet and Associates be appointed to prepare an engineer's report for the K2 Custom Homes, Inc. petition.
Thank you. Mover and seconder, please. Counselor Cerna moves, Counselor Leach seconds. All in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you, Mr. Lopez. It's nice to see you in person. Every once in a while, it's okay. Have a good evening as well. Okay, so we'll go back to the items we skipped, which was the capital purchase of UTV accessories. Director Spoor.
Thank you, Worship. Tonight's report is asking for a preliminary funding for our Fire and Emergency Services, requesting early approval for the purchase of a trailer and firefighting skid unit to make their newly acquired UTV vehicle fully operational for off-road fire suppression and rescues. This purchase addressed some legislative safety obligations, improved operational readiness, and maximizing value for the money. The UTV itself was fully funded through external grants, leaving the township responsible only for the trailer and skid unit. This investment will enhance firefighter safety, strengthen rural and remote emergency response, and ensure full use of an already grant-funded asset. I'll be happy to answer any other questions that council may have.
Thank you for that. So just one clarification, because I think there was some confusion around the planning of the budget. So this is unplanned for 2025. There was something in 2026 that we saw. We didn't approve, but we saw it as listed. Can you remind us what was planned for 2026?
Yeah, originally when we did our 10-year capital expenditure out a couple of years ago, we started this. It was planned for looking for budget approval for a UTV and this other items. Fortunately, we got the purchase of the UTV a year early because of the grant application.
Okay, I'll open it up for further questions and clarifications. Deputy Mayor Widner.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Through you to the fire chief. I'm going to support this. I mean, the vehicle's no good without these enhancements, like buying a combine, not getting head on it. They're very versatile units. Lots of fire departments are using them. I mean, there's talk of another ATV club coming to the area. That'd be perfect for any kind of problem there. Even the winter time with the snowmobile trails and the firefighting issues. I mean, if you got spot fires, it'd be great to whisk across the field with that thing and put a fire out just as an enhancement, and for rescues and stuff too. So I know it's in the 26 budget subject to approval, and I would say at this time, and I would go ahead with it. So thank you.
And to clarify the Deputy Mayor, that you would recommend that we go ahead this year for the 2025 budget.
Purchase it now. But in 20, so it's paid for 26?
Deputy Mayor, yeah, what I'm looking for is to be able to approval to purchase it. Likely, I don't think we might not get these bills until 2026 anyway. With the, I don't know, I didn't get any dates for a trailer delivery and anything like that. But like I was talking about some of the skid units and stuff, they're talking like 18-week lead time, which will put us into 2026 already, so.
Councillor Cerna.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The way I look at it, I support Deputy Mayor all the way with that, because right now what we have is a toy. We need to make toy into a tool. And I think that's what we have to do. So I'm all for full support of getting what you need. And if we have to pay for it now, we pay for it now. If we're lucky enough to get it in 2026 with the budget time, we get it in 2026. But yeah, it's like buying a truck without a motor. Right now, we got the ATV, but we have to get our full use out of it. So let's get what we can and get it now. So I'm full support of getting it, everything we need now. Thank you.
Thank you for that. So I just want to clarify, because based on your statement, Councillor Cerna, of having something without, having a car without a motor, there was a report in May of 2025 when we approved the grant to purchase this that talked about several types of rescues. It didn't mention, the May report didn't mention fire. It mentioned several types of emergency services. And so I'm a bit surprised that the accessories at the time in May, when council reviewed the purchase, it didn't mention the accessories. So what I'm trying to say is that right now it's not useless. I believe according to the May report that we approved, there are several uses for different types of emergency services. This would add one more use, which related to fire.
It would add one more use to fire, but when you read the report that the chief sent out, when you read what it can do with all the accessories, it further enhances everything. And all we have to do is save one life. And it more than pays for everything. And that's the way I look at it. So, I mean, like I said, right now, it's more of a toy than anything else. Let's utilize it to its fullest, especially when we hardly paid anything for the ATV. So let's go for it.
And I'll just add also for council that we have not received all of 2026 budget and all the capital requests. And so I think everything we will receive will be extremely important, and we will have very tough decisions to make about saving lives and providing basic level services. So I'm just cautioning us that we're making decisions for 2026 without the full context of, so right now it may seem very affordable, but that's because we haven't seen the other urgent items to be considered. So I caution us to start almost deliberating on 2026 budget without full information for every. So there are times we have approved capital purchases because particularly for road projects where the tender was really, the timing of the tender was really important. So yes, we have made exceptions for those. And so just again, wanted to make sure everything was well considered. So I have Councillor Leach and Director Spoor. I don't know. Councillor Leach?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Can you give a kind of a ballpark idea of how many times in the last 8 months or so that this particular equipment that you're requesting would have been beneficial?
I can give you a bit of a ballpark, as like I said, I probably won't be able to get, so some of the calls where when they give us calls like for our reports, someone could be a medical call where the person could be off site or something. So I couldn't give you any of that. I could just, I could name a few recently. We've had a few grass fires where they're off-site. We just had a combine fire in the field recently. Numerous calls of fire on the beach, which we don't necessarily need that machine on, but it could be used for if we required it. Rescues itself, not so much for this just recently in the last few months, but it could be used for anything like that as well. And that's about it. So I could tell you there's probably at least 10 or 12 calls in the last 8 months. So
Could I have a follow-up? In terms of, do you see the UTV being used more fair weather, like fall, or spring, summer, fall, or do you see it being used over the winter months as well?
I can think it could be any time because there could be out for rescues and stuff for people out cutting wood in the fields or and stuff like that as well. Chances of maybe perhaps even during some flood seasons of the area, rural areas as well, where you can use it to get into some rural areas. I think it would probably be used more in the fall, in the spring, just for the amount of field stuff going on as well in the field. So there's obviously more a chance of it happening than in dry times with the grass fires and stuff as well, when it really when it's dry. So.
One more question, yes?
Thank you. Does the UTV have a stretcher capacity now, or is that something that's going to be in these enhancements?
Stretcher could be capable now in the box of the unit right now. We could slide our rescue basket in there. It can be put in the back of the vehicle now. The skid unit for the firefighting stuff we're trying to make it as a trailer so we can still use it for other things as well. And not, some municipalities have been put the skid unit mounted into the back of the UTV itself, which limits it that you can't put anything else on it or do anything, or without having unbolted and take it out. So our plan is to be able to tow the skid unit behind it with that little trailer and do that as well. So it's multifunctional. Let's keep more function into it. So.
Thank you.
The trailer itself too. There's actually two trailers. One trailer holds the skid unit and the other trailer is actually to transport the vehicle to. So the trailer itself with the cost where it's split, the trailer itself is for putting this UTV unit in the trailer to be able to tow it to a scene. Hope that clarifies a bit more.
You're not riding the ATV to the scene. Right. So in the past, when we've approved capital budgets in advance, there was a genuine rationale around cost, wanting to, or the availability of contractors. So in this case, if we're making an exception to accept a 2026 item in advance, what would be that rationale? So are we concerned about costs? Because we're only talking a few months difference. And like I said, it may seem reasonable now, but we haven't seen everything else. And I just want to make sure we have a logical reason for making an exception for this item.
My rationale would be the fact that since the lead time is going to be 18 months, 18 weeks, so minimum at least on that. I don't know for the trailer for sure. The time would be that when budget gets approved, it's going to be well into that, and we'll probably be missing most of the springtime. It'll be into the summer probably before we get it, just to speed up that process. That's all.
Councillor Leach.
Thank you. So currently the UTV doesn't go anywhere unless it's close to the station that it's currently situated in, correct?
That's correct. We don't have a trailer to take it anywhere, so.
Deputy Mayor Widner.
Yes, thank you. Through to Jeff. I guess the budget request is a lot less because we got the UTV grant. So you were originally looking, what, 60 some odd thousand? You're down to in the 30 range, but I can't see us not approving it because what good is this thing without, if we can't get it anywhere? I mean, we might as well not even have it. And I think we're missing some real good use out of it if we don't equip it fully. And we knew there was going to be enhancements. I mean, more than that. So but it is a lot less of the budget, so that is one thing would help along anyway. Thank you.
I think, yeah, the original was something like 40,000. The line, I think that was planned.
I
for
think the line
2026.
went in at 40,000 and me and Director Boylan at the time had not talked about adding that stuff into it, more so as just the ATV. And then as we're getting closer to 2026, we were going to make sure it was more accurate, so.
Any further questions or comments? All right, well, we'll read the resolution as drafted.
The report number F25-10 entitled Capital Purchase of UTV Accessories be received and that council authorizes the purchase of UTV accessories as a 2025 unbudgeted expense.
Okay, so the resolution reads as a 2025 unbudgeted expense. So we're looking, so that's what maybe is causing confusion. Are we looking to fund it maybe out of this year's? I don't know if Mr. Diaz or Mr. Spore, do we need to
Yeah, I think.
clarify the resolution?
I think the council or CEO Diaz, that's his wording for the report, I think, as unbudgeted. Maybe Nathan can help out that.
Through you, your worship, the language in the report there for that resolution is with regard to authorizing the expense. So if it is a 2025 unbudgeted expense, let's just say if the turnaround time is quick and the item does appear, let's say by December, that way it is accounted for as a 2025 unbudgeted expense and it will just carry over into the 2026 budget anyway. So the language is more or less to ensure that there is some approval to track this purchase.
Which we have to do this year. Okay. Okay, so mover and second, thank you for that. Mover and seconder then. Deputy Mayor Widner moves, Councillor Cerna seconds. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Okay, and so next we have a bylaw for Brooks Drain. Go ahead.
The following bylaw be now read a first and second time, 25-52 Brook Stream, Branch A.
Mover and seconder. Councillor Lewis moves, Councillor Glinski seconds. All those in favor? Motion is carried. So next we can move into committee of the whole for a couple of items. So resolution for that, please.
Resolved that we do now move into committee of the whole.
Mover and seconder. Councillor Lewis moves, Councillor Leach seconds. All those in favor? Motion is carried. The first item for the committee is the 2025 Malahide Annual Satisfaction Survey results. And for that, we welcome Stephen Tripp. Good evening, welcome.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of council. So as part of our strategic initiatives, the township launched its first annual satisfaction survey for 2025. The feedback provided offers valuable insight into how we're delivering our services and where improvements may be needed. To summarize, between July and September, 32 residents completed the 15-question survey, which was available online, in person at our municipal buildings, and was also sent out the link in our most recent property tax bills. While the sample size is considered statistically insignificant relative to the size of our population, it gives us a useful snapshot of residents' priorities and satisfaction levels. Using a weighted average scale, the results showed that overall satisfaction ranged from 60 to 76%, with strong results for winter maintenance, waste and recycling, financial services, and outdoor spaces. Roads and sidewalks were rated positively, noted for some repairs. Planning, building, and bylaw services received some constructive criticism, showing room for improvement. It was clear from some of the results that education around which services are delivered by the township versus those delivered by our counterparts continues to be an area of improvement. as some feedback reflected responsibilities outside of municipal control. Residents also suggested expanding seniors programming, recreational opportunities, online engagement, and enhanced waste pickup. If there's any questions about the report, I am happy to answer them.
Thank you. I'll open it up for discussion. Or comments or questions. Deputy Mayor?
Yes, thank you, Mayor, through you and Stephen. They're pretty low numbers. It's disappointing. But it seems like every time anybody does a survey, that's what it comes back as, with low numbers. The county comes back with low numbers, we do. I know the Elmer Library one came back low, and they actually said with low numbers, it's not even worth looking at. So I don't know what you can do to improve it. I know I had some comments that it was too long and too onerous, and just, I'm gonna do this. I'm just curious, what was the cost of this? Does anybody know that?
The cost of having this, was it done internally, Mr. Tripp? Can you comment on that?
Yes, through you, Madam Mayor, and to you, Deputy Mayor Widner, there wasn't any like consulting costs or anything. It was done internally through our systems and marketed through the township.
Any further comments? Councilor Leach?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's great that we did have 32 respondents. Do you think that potentially the timing over the summer impacted the number that were received?
Thank you. Through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Leach. I wouldn't say necessarily. Last summer, we did the Port Bruce satisfaction survey and received about 60 respondents. So to say that over the summer, people were less likely to complete the survey, I can't say for certain that was an issue, but definitely some further analysis of how we could get more respondents to get people more engaged and responding to these questions is something that we're definitely going to look into.
Thank you.
I know for my part, I have received some feedback that because it could not be completed anonymously, that some were hesitant to complete it because they had perhaps like projects underway or different applications or recent applications or permits, and they didn't wish to jeopardize their project. So I think that's something we should look at, and to perhaps have the option to remain anonymous. And sometimes, I know with the survey, we don't make that option available to avoid, avoid inappropriate responses or, over the topics. But I think there might be a trade-off. So something to consider. I agree also the length. We could, that was also feedback that I received. So if we could look at making it really, really simple. And my other question was around the waste management. Can you remind us when our waste management master plan is due for review? Is it in 2026?
Through you, Madam Mayor. The waste management master plan is currently undergoing the starts of our internal review right now. Staff have started updating what we can update internally. We're pulling data from other sources that we need. Generally speaking, my plan would be that once we get it to a reasonable draft state, that we would present that to council and kind of at the same time kick off some more public engagement related specifically to some of those items identified in that waste management master plan, so we can have a more detailed discussion about things like an annual bulky pickup. I mean, we hear that come around once in a while. The talks about garbage tags, all those very specific matters to waste management will all be further explored during that process.
Perfect. So that input will be beneficial for that. And it is also being considered, the input of this survey is also being considered for budget planning. I'm looking at Mr. Diaz or Mr. Tripp in terms of different initiatives or triggering at least a review of some services.
Yeah, through you, Madam Mayor, the purpose of the survey is in order to receive some sort of qualitative and quantitative data with regard to tracking service levels and seeing how satisfaction does carry through. Part of the analysis and its value is year after year, will we notice any trends? And is there a specific reason why a certain satisfaction for, let's just say, could be roads or anything, may decrease or increase? And is it just in order to measure our performance, as this was identified as a strategic priority for council. That being said, like some of the comments even which were put forward, I know that the participation in these surveys continues to be a challenge, and indeed any sort of engagement online continues to be a challenge as well. With regard to putting the survey out, I believe it was a 2-month period and may have been possibly longer. We also ended up putting a notice in the tax bills to follow along with this as well. But I think it's one of these things where it is new, and it's something that we want to work on to share with residents to know that this is an opportunity to provide feedback, and it will be something that we look at and take into consideration, and perhaps that will, help foster further engagement.
Councilor Glinski.
Madam Mayor, I would just like to highlight the senior recreation section where they state expand recreation options, courses, fitness classes, badminton, and better recreational use of the East Elgin Community Complex beyond hockey. Possibly, these comments should be taken into consideration when somebody wants to place something that would take all of these things away from us, where other municipalities are looking at putting these kind of activities and space where they can be conducted in. We appear to be looking at taking them out. And I think if we do that, we're going backwards, because the survey itself, even though it wasn't large, it's the seniors and the recreation that they're pushing for. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Councilor Leach.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like to thank Mr. Tripp and staff for providing the survey to our residents. Even though it didn't have a lot of uptake right now, I can see it. If people are used to the fact that it's going to be available and we tweak it, it will be an asset for us in planning purposes. Thanks.
Thank you for that. And keeping in mind that in government services, low participation in and of itself is sometimes interpreted as positive feedback. So it is, I know it sounds weird, but silence is the compliment in government services. So we tend to hear, and in the public sector, you tend to hear and you tend to see an increase in participation. It's the same with voter turnout. When things are going well, as the perception of the public, turnout is low. Then that's true for surveys, and that's true for voter turnout. So let's keep that in mind. So the potentially a good news story here. And the other thing that I've seen, maybe a suggestion to consider, is to ask for feedback immediately after a service, for example, and not necessarily after garbage pickup, but let's say you've just completed a permit application, and when you issue the permit, then you ask, how did we do? And so just in that moment, or if there's an interaction at the on the counter. And so that could be something perhaps that's also like very short, just in time, just after you receive, and you see that in different other government services or retail areas, and they immediately ask you, how did we do? So perhaps that's another way to increase the level of feedback. But Councillor Cerna.
I just have a comment. I just want to say, Madam Mayor, that that is the best spin I have ever heard in my entire life. Thank you.
And I just want to clarify, that's not spin, that is science. I will pull up the research for you.
The next time I go to an election, I get 67 votes and I win. I take that as a landslide. Okay, thank you.
Excellent. So if there are no further questions, Councillor Glinski.
Just another comment. As everyone here knows, and also everyone in the public knows, that there are so many different scams out there that involve surveys for this, that, and the other thing. 99% of the surveys that end up on my doorstep, which is almost every day, get the same result. Just a quick click, regardless of what they are, because they may have someone with the nicest voice or the greatest ideas, and they could be the biggest scams on the go, and we don't know that. And that is one of the things that has been suggested. Just click them off, get rid of them. And unfortunately, sometimes good surveys, the same thing happens. Thank you.
That's a good point. Okay, well, thank you for that. Thank you to staff as well for this initiative and the resolution.
The report number DS 25-38 entitled 2025 Malahide Annual Satisfaction Survey be received, and that the committee recommend that council approves the publication of the survey results for distribution through online and electronic channels.
Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Leach moves, Councillor Wilson seconds. All in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you, Mr. Tripp. Enjoyed the rest, or no, you do have one more later
Yep.
on, so don't go too far. For now, we'll go to the land severance reporting revisions. So that will be, oh, that is you. Okay. Okay. There you go. Over to you then.
Excellent. Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council, for my second report. As part of, again, the strategic initiatives for 2025, staff have implemented process mapping to identify opportunities to optimize operations in key service areas. The process mapping review of land severances, which is the township's most common planning application type, typically involves 21 steps from start to finish, and we were able to find areas that could be optimized. So specifically, we prepare reports that include detailed policy analysis, as you can see in attachment 1. However, in consultation with Elgin County Planning, who is the approval authority, has confirmed that they undertake their own policy review and recommendation process and analysis, which they share with the Land Division Committee. Elgin County Planning has confirmed that the most important and only input they require from Malahide Township is our list of local conditions and any local concerns. The proposed change is straightforward. Instead of preparing a report with a full policy analysis, we can generate and present a shorter report. Council will still see every application and vote on the resolution to push the package to the LDC, but the report will be in a more focused format as demonstrated in the template attachment. This adjustment keeps council informed, maintains transparency, aligns with the county's needs, and could potentially save $3,400 per year. So in short, it's the same accountability, there's less duplication, and it's a more efficient use of resources. And I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Comments, questions? Councillor Leach.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good catch. $3,400 in our pocket is better spent somewhere else.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was even more than that in terms of all the staff time that doesn't get accounted for and all those steps and all those emails that get sent and attachments. And so, yeah, anything we can do to streamline our processes, I think it's a step forward. So thank you for bringing that suggestion. Deputy Mayor Widner.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just curious now, we're going to make this less onerous, but will the applicant be charged less now? Is there an opportunity they don't have to be charged as much as they are now? I'm just curious about that. Less on one end should be less on the other.
It wouldn't necessarily result in less cost to the applicant. There's pretty basic fees charged by the county, like pretty standard fees for severance applications. More or less, the cost savings would be Malahide Township and what it pays its consultant planners in preparing detailed policy analysis that the county currently already provides to the Land Division Committee.
So we'll look for ways to pass the savings, because the savings can go toward other initiatives, and that will benefit the ratepayers. But yeah, that'd be good to look at and keep that in mind during budget deliberations. Any further questions? If not, then we'll consider a resolution.
That report number DS 25-39 entitled Land Severance Reporting Revisions be received, and that the committee recommend that council endorses replacing the policy planning analysis portion of severance reporting with a simplified report prepared and presented by the township's assistant planner.
Thank you. Mover and seconder, please. Councilor Lewis moves, Councilor Glinsky seconds. All in favor? Motion is carried. Okay, now that's it for, for you, Mr. Tripp. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And I think those are all the items also for the committee of the whole, so we can adjourn.
Resolved that we do move out of committee of the whole and reconvene the regular council meeting.
Mover and seconder, please. Deputy Mayor Widner moves, Councilor Leach seconds. All in favor? Motion is carried. And this takes us to correspondence. So there are 11 items. The 11th item requires a separate resolution for the change in the Long Point Conservation Authority Board appointment. So I'll start with items 1 to 10. Any comments? Questions or support? Seeing none, we'll proceed with the resolution to receive those 10 items.
Be it resolved that the 10 correspondence items be received and filed.
Mover and seconder, please. Councilor Wilson moves. Councilor Glinsky seconds. All in favor? Motion is carried. And for item 11, the resolution.
That the council of the township of Malahide approve BAM's appointment of their mayor, Ed Ketchabah, as the joint representative to the Long Point Region Conservation Authority Board for the remainder of the term.
Thank you. Mover and seconder, please. Deputy Mayor Widner moves. Councilor Leach seconds. All in favor? Motion is carried. And this brings us to closed session. Resolution, please.
The council move into closed session at 8:04 p.m. pursuant to section 239(2) of the Municipal Act as amended to discuss the following closed meeting minutes of September 18th. Advice that is subject to a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board. And the amendment or the addendum of the closed session item. A position plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality or local board. Elmer Settlement Area Boundary Adjustment, Section 239(2)K.
Mover and seconder, please. Deputy Mayor Widner moves. Councilor Cerna seconds. All those in favor? Motion is carried. And welcome back. We're ready to come out of closed session with the resolution, please.
The council move out of closed session and reconvene at 9 PM and that the September 18th, 2025 closed meeting minutes be adopted and that staff were given direction and there is nothing further to report.
Thank you. Mover and seconder, please. Counselor Lewis moves, Counselor Glinski seconds, all in favor. Motion is carried. Which brings us to confirmatory bylaw.
That bylaw number 25-54 being a confirmatory bylaw be given first, second, and third reading and properly signed and sealed.
Mover and seconder. Counselor Wilson moves, Counselor Leach seconds, all in favor. Motion is carried. And adjournment.
The council adjourned its meeting at 9:01 PM to meet again on October 16th, 2025 at 7 PM.
Mover and seconder. Deputy Mayor Widner moves, Counselor Cerna seconds, all in favor. Motion is carried. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of the evening.